Trip morning show coming back at you live, 7:47 on a Wednesday. The cast of thousands is in full force today, filling the hockey, Corey, saucy, and Halvey-shaped void in all of our hearts. We miss them, and they'll be back 5:30 to 9 tomorrow, live from Las Vegas. We'd also like to welcome Mark Rosen, a.k.a. Markizzle Rizzle, as his closest friends and family call him. Rosie, how you doing today, brother?
Man, it takes a village to do this show when those guys are gone. My God. It's so full.
Very questionable village.
Yeah, very questionable. It's so full in the studio that I've given up my normal seat for Marnes. And
that's you, Rosie. And people say you're not a gentleman.
Who said chivalry's dead?
Yeah, exactly. My bags are packed, and I'm just talking priest and
come on, they're talking about his bag.
Mexican news station.
Literally can't say 10 words without being on the button bar. Zach would say, button bar.
The old scrotal eclipse.
Yeah,
there it is.
Was that you, Rose?
I heard that story. Look at all those solar flares out there. Get that Norelco one blade.
That was a chuckle. Headed out with my bestie, Lawyer Lambert, to, in the words of John Kreese, I'll say this very slowly, we have to play team slots. That's his specialty. Loves to do that. So anyway, we're looking forward to it. Going to go out for a couple days. Probably not going to hang with those guys too much. We're staying downtown.
Oh, Rose.
Rosie, this is a very serious question.
Yes, sir. Benjamin, good to see you.
Good to see you. Mm-hmm. Do you and Lawyer Lambert get two individual rooms or share a room?
No, I knew you were going to say we get two individual rooms.
Oh,
we enjoy each other's
you guys are
bunk bed.
We are going to do some social media stuff for sure, because I talked to the folks at Circa and got permission to do little video stuff that I want to do, talking about the sport. They're and Chris, I know all you guys have been there. It's the most extravagant sports book in Vegas. It's not even close.
It is. You don't need their permission either. We do tons of. That's
what I've heard that, but I wanted to make sure, because what they don't want you to do. Let's just say we're doing some bit in near the blackjack area, whatever. They don't want to show individual gamblers, because some guy might be on a trip. I'm using air quotes, on a business trip to Vegas.
It's business, all right.
I got meetings all day, and then all of a sudden he pops up in the background playing blackjack for $300 a hand.
Sure.
When his wife sees it or something, thinking, no. So they just stay away from that. But I want to see their extravagant pool area out there as well too, because they have a basically like a drive-in movie theater screen, the size of it, to watch the Masters or watch whatever sporting event happens to be on, and they're sitting out there, it's 80 degrees.
The whole town knows why you want to see the pool.
Exactly. Trying to show off that new speedo that you got.
The blackjack tables are the best out there.
It's not the giant screens you want to see.
It's down our back and tell us it's raining.
Busted again.
Bust is right.
I can't help it.
Before we get into Vikings news, Rosie, I wanted to talk to you about the Twins real quick.
Do we have to?
Yeah, I'm saying the same thing, but this is actually Twins news powered by Quantum Fiber. The Twins fell to the Dodgers 6-3 yesterday. They looked miserable once again. Tyler Glasnow, Dodgers starter, tied his career high with 14 strikeouts across 7 scoreless innings. A trio of Twins ended up homering late, but it was too little, too late. The Twins are now 0-4 at home, Rose.
Well, yeah, it was weird. I was walking over. I had parked quite a ways away, and I was walking over to Target Center for the game last night to chit-chat with some friends and to watch Anthony go off for 51.
How awesome was that?
Yeah, he wasn't coming out of the game. But, I said, oh, that's right. It's so weird to think, oh, yeah, that's right. The Twins are playing the Dodgers. This is their one appearance here. This is, Ohtani, and there's a lot of fans walking to Target Field. And you just had this foreboding feeling like, well, this isn't going to end well. I hate to say that the injury to Royce Lewis, which is problematic, and who knows how long that's going to go on for, has had an absolute chilling effect on an already questionable offense, which was supposed to be the strength of this team going into the start of the season. And without him in the lineup, we saw what he did. His first 2 at-bats, got a home run and got a single, and got the quad injury, and it looks like it's a 2-month ordeal. No one's replaced him. No one's come close to putting some energy into that lineup. And I don't know what Rocco does at this point. I mean, this was supposed to be, okay, and we know the pitching staff, they, don't even look up the box scores last night to see what Sonny Gray did, by the way, with the St. Louis Cardinals. He made his first start, and by the way, pitched 5 shutout innings. Ugh. So, and they replaced him with, they didn't. That's right, I forgot. So this is the issue which is really upsetting fans, and rightfully so. It's not just the start they're off to, because I think they will recover from this in an otherwise weak division. They'll start hitting at some point, and hopefully they'll score a bunch of runs, and they'll win some games, and they'll probably be very competitive. But because the management decided we're not going to reinvest in this team after winning a playoff series last year, we're going to decrease payroll, sent the wrong message to the fans, and here we are seeing the fruits of their labor early in the season. And they're playing a team like the Dodgers. I mean, it's like a single A playing a major league team right now. They can't compete against them. They got one more this afternoon, and that's it for the Dodgers for the season in town early in the year. At least the weather's nice today, and I'm sure they'll have a big crowd out there. But it's pretty discouraging when you see that the kind of money that the big market teams, especially the Dodgers, have invested in, and led with Shohei Ohtani, who. Did he have 3 more hits? I can't keep up with his box score. He's so good.
He's been incredible.
I mean, it's a draw, and this is it. It's like, well, you're going to see someone performing at U.S. Bank or whatever. He or she has a 3-night performance stay. This is Shohei Ohtani's only stay here in the Twin Cities. It happens to be early in April, but he's putting on a show. Pardon the fun.
Rosie, it was kind of the same. We're seeing the same problems with the Twins offense this year that we were seeing last year.
Strikeouts.
Strikeouts, not being able to take advantage of runners in scoring position. What do you think? Dr. Rosie, put your stethoscope on for a second, and please don't ask me to cough or turn my head right. But,
no, I will not do that.
Diagnose the Twins' bat problems.
Commons theory has always been, they're taught to hit home runs. We're not looking to play small ball. We're trying to hit the ball 400 feet. And they don't necessarily have the personnel to do that. I think their hitting coach is probably his job is probably going to be on the line pretty soon. They promoted him. I don't think he's had a major league job before, but it's how much can he do? It's still up to the individuals. I mean, Kepler's on the injured list now, and you go around the horn, and some guys probably just don't belong in the major leagues. And they got some good young players on this team and in this organization, but they're clearly overmatched, especially when you play a team like the Dodgers. I think they're just, as they say, you're squeezing the bat so hard right now that you're trying to hit a 3-run homer every time. Don't start laughing.
How hard?
I mean, my God, you guys, I forgot to show them.
I mean, what a bunch of juveniles. You guys stop it. Grow up, every single one. Immature adults in here.
You squeeze your bat.
They used to say, squeeze the sawdust out of it. That was...
I guess at your age, that's what it is, huh,
That's a future Button Bar Hall of Fame.
Well, that's what Sauce tells me anyway.
There goes my joke.
So to answer your question in non-power trip fashion, that might be one of their issues. You start pressing it, and it's weird, isn't it, collectively how this happens?
Right.
Where it's not
just one guy or two guys. It's the whole team.
But this is what happened last year early. I mean, the amount of strikeouts is alarming. I mean, if you're scoring a whole bunch of runs and you're hitting 3 home runs a game, so be it. But I think people want to just get base hits, but no, they can't do that.
So what you're saying is, no matter how hard they squeeze their bats,
right,
they're always coming up with blanks.
Core.
Right.
Yeah.
Been there.
Yeah.
Happens.
Man. Might need to hit that TRT, man.
My. Need a little Cialis or something in those baseball bats. I don't know.
It's time for Vikings news on the Power Trip, presented by
Your truck accessories pro.
Not a whole lot of Vikings news today, Lieber, and I know we're all tired of talking about the draft, but I just saw a new report come across my screen that
A new report?
new report that Jaden Daniels has all sorts of interest in being a Viking, and of course, any of the top picks are going to say that about any of the teams. I don't think anybody. I mean, nobody wants to get drafted by the Commanders, but they're going to say, "Yeah, I'd love to go to Washington, of course." But if you are one of those top 3 or 4 quarterbacks. Is the Vikings, out of the top teams that are selecting, is the Vikings one of the more preferred destinations, or maybe the most preferred destination?
I would think it's the most. I mean, that's what the some of the analysts and experts have already broken down, that you break everything down with the talent that we have on offense, who we have as a head coach, and it's like, look, this is the preferred place for a lot of guys. But the thing is, Jaden's going to say what he's going to say because you want to be enticing to every team. But truthfully, with Cliff Kingsbury in Washington, this is probably the best spot for him when it comes to skill set and how he's been able to take guys just like him and turn them into superstars. So I don't know. He's going to say all those nice things, but I think he ultimately ends up in Washington with the Commanders. And then we'll see what happens after that. Then it's all the other rumors, like, is Drake May really going to be a guy that gets a GM fired? Like, is that really the case? Or is that just something that an agent told them to say? Who knows? It's all, could I see the Vikings? Maybe the Vikings will trade up, and maybe they like J.J. McCarthy. And look, I mean, we've talked about it 1,000 times. We all expect them to move up and get a quarterback. It's just, Mel Kiper's thing, the latest thing on ESPN is have them trading up with the Chargers at number 5. Mm-hmm. That does worry me because that 4th spot with Arizona is still open. So, like,
Denver could hop.
Right. And, there are other teams like,
though.
I just don't like, having a little bit of that window right there where someone could leapfrog us and get JJ if that's who they're really targeting. I just think if you want to solidify your pick, you have to get to 4. You just have to.
Since I'm going to Vegas, we're talking percentages, Ben. Let me ask you this question. Now, what are the chances the Vikings stay at 11-23, maybe take Penix, who, a lot of people do like, despite the injury concerns, at 11 or something, if he's still there, and take another big need at 23, as opposed to moving up and what if all those, the first 3 quarterbacks are obviously going to go off the board, and JJ might be gone. I don't know. I mean, what are the chances you think that they'll just stay at 11-23 because they need the draft is the lifeblood of any team. That's what keeps the motor running. Especially when you have now 2 picks in the top 23. Hard to turn that down if you can get a quarterback at 11 or 23. If Penix or Nix, one of those guys, falls in your lap, knowing how really it's a crapshoot for all these guys. It just is.
Yeah, no, it is. I would say if you're looking for a percentage, I would say it's 20% that we stay at 11-23. Okay. I'm guessing that highly likely that we're going to do everything we can to move up. You have to make a bold move. Yeah. You just have to.
25 quarterbacks in 25 years. That tells you something. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yikes. 8 o'clock hour of the Power Trip morning show coming up next. We'll do funny news, headlines in the box, and so much more. Max Fuller here signing off. It's the Power Trip morning show right here on The Fan.
Yeah.
The inmates are running the show. Nobody's sitting at the table. Nobody's got headphones on. Rosie's in here with his feet up on the desk. I heard the music, and I'm like, you guys, we're on right now. Nobody's sitting in the right spot.
Oops. What are you talking about?
Rosie, you're supposed to be the veteran in here, Rose.
Everything's fine.
No,
the show is great.
Bad.
Actually, Max, you're doing a hell of a job.
Yeah, Max is crushing this.
Thanks, I really appreciate that because I was super anxious this morning. As I said earlier in the show, the mud butt was just flowing like a whitewater river this morning, man. It was
hot.
Yeah, it was hot. It was one of those, Martins, those ones where you just got to take your shirt off, like where you're just butt naked on the toilet and you're just asking any God, why? Jesus,
them.
Buddha, Allah. Why? What did I do?
People will be shocked to know that we didn't do any prep for this show outside of if you had an individual thing you wanted to bring. Like Corey sent out a group text
Saw that.
confirming everyone's times, and then a second group text just sort of saying in the 8 o'clock hour do this, in the 8:30 do and I looked at that and I thought, okay, now who's going to guide us? Who's going to get us in and out? And I didn't put one more second of thought into it. Then I started listening this morning. I was like, it's Maxo!
Hey!
Maxo's guiding the ship, and we're all just on for the ride. So great job today.
I appreciate it, Marnes. We were talking off there in the hallway. Isn't it crazy to think about? Because you were saying, I said, you're the pro, and you said, I'm actually not. But Marnes was the first person that I was on the air with at the fan. She was the very first person that I met at KFAN.
So sweet.
So sorry, Max.
And all I said all afternoon was, get my coffee!
A couple of B words, a couple of A words.
I don't like to host this show. I don't think I'm very good at it. It's really hard to know when to sort of navigate between conversations and to have enough guests. I always feel like I want guests to fill the time, and I maybe hosted 3 or 4 times total, like sitting in the John Creasel chair where he's sitting now and actually being the host. And so Max was the producer one time when I did it. Had we even met?
No, I don't think
I'm
we
like,
met.
well, this is going to be great. Here's some schmuck I don't even know.
He didn't even pick out his fro. His fro is lopsided.
It's nerve wracking. But when you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people on it, sure is helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very helpful. And we're going to get into more wackiness, chaos.
See the transition. He
skullduggery. Thank you, Marnes. I really appreciate it. I've gotten a little reps here and there. Nobody listens to it aside from my mom and grandma, but I do have a show on Sundays, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Worst case scenario. So got a couple reps there, but it's not nearly as good as this show. Trust me, way better.
It's time for Fan 5, brought to you by Builders and Remodelers.
Thank you, builders and remodelers. Marnes Anthony Edwards put up a 51-burger on the Washington Wizards to help the Wolves overcome an early 21-point deficit. Ant had 30 points in the second half. Rudy also finished with 19 and 16. Naz Reid was ejected early, and it sets up a showdown for the number 1 seed in the Western Conference with the Denver Nuggets tonight.
Yeah, it was great last night to see guys like Nickeil Alexander-Walker have 23 points.
He kept them in the game in the first half.
Oh, he had 14 in the second quarter, and we needed every one of those.
Yeah.
So, yeah, now the Wolves are in Denver tonight. Both first-place teams. We own the tiebreaker. No matter what happens in this game, we own the tiebreaker with Denver if we need it. Obviously, if Denver finishes ahead of us in the standings, that's it. It's over. But after us, Denver has San Antonio and Memphis. So you have to assume Denver's going to go 2-0 after our game tonight. Oklahoma City has, I just had their schedule up. Oklahoma City has San Antonio tonight. So that's probably a win for OKC, but then Milwaukee and Dallas. That's how OKC finishes. Milwaukee, Dallas. Very good teams.
But without
Giannis had a calf.
Giannis, without Giannis, it might be a little easier to face Milwaukee. We'll see how the
they're
severity of his
scuffling
injury
right now,
is.
but there are no gimmies. I'm saying Denver's games are probably given. And then we, of course, finish out with the Hawks and the Suns. And that's it, folks. And that's the seeding. And it might not even matter in the end because it's all about matchups and who you get in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But home court advantage is a big deal, too.
It's not the end of the world, is it, Mars? If they get the second seed, I mean, it's
No,
great.
of course. That's
Fantastic.
wonderful. We
Bring
went
it
in
on.
saying the goal was top 4.
Right.
And some fans would have laughed at that even. Really? You think you're a top 4 team? And then pretty soon it was clear like, oh, we're talking top 2. That new goal. Now it's top seed.
And it's not even like they got hot at the end of the year. So they've been around the top seed pretty much since November, right, Marnes?
Yes, for the most part, for the majority of the season, the Wolves have been the number 1 seed. I can't believe those words just came out of my mouth.
Do you get the sense that Cat returns Friday night here against Atlanta? That he will not play tonight in Denver, given the rust and everything. But he's ready to go. From what we're
ready,
hearing,
he's been cleared.
Maybe Friday night is the launching point for Cat's return, and to get at least one game in before the Wolves have the week off, and then start the playoffs likely on April the 20th here at Target Center.
It would make the most sense. I don't have inside steam on it, but it would make the most sense to play Friday against the Hawks and Sunday against the Suns and get some game rhythm.
Yep.
Right, because then you have that rest time before the playoffs start when you're not a play-in team, which is also kind of fun to be in that situation. So it makes perfect sense to do that and ramp him up that way, yes.
Watching Golden State destroy the Lakers last night late, I mean, you think if those teams could match up, and you think to yourself, you're watching LeBron, you're watching Steph and Clay and the whole gang, and thinking, these teams are in the play-in game. I mean, one of them is going to be just like, this is crazy, and they're still formidable to say that, especially Golden State. When you got Clay and Steph and Draymond going off, and like they did last night, and thinking, man, they can be. I would still love to play them. I think the Wolves would beat them in 5 or 6. But
the league is wild this year. The West is wild. You know, the Wolves just got absolutely rolled in Phoenix. Did you see what Phoenix did last night?
Barely scored. They were down 41-5 or something.
What? Yes, to the Clippers.
Yeah,
30. The score in the end of the first quarter. The Clippers were up on Phoenix 35-4. 4?
They left the court.
It's the opposite. It's basically what Phoenix had done to the Wolves.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's going to be
and they came
a
almost all the way
wonderful
back.
season in the playoffs. It's for fans to be invested in this season in the NBA. Even a guy like Mark Parrish can get on board. With these playoffs.
Buckle up. Let's go. Well, speaking of which, I mean, this has been a brand new NBA season with the in-season tournament. How does that play out with the Lakers for the playoffs?
It doesn't.
Exactly. Exactly. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
We did care in mid-November.
It was pretty sweet.
You cared because it was new. If it actually had some sort of playoff implications, it'd be better.
Yeah, and they've made T-shirts.
I'll call the league.
I have a friend who lives out there, and he went to one of the games, and they gave T-shirts to everyone, and making fun of it because the team has so
didn't
many.
they hang a banner?
I think they did.
Yeah, the Lakers.
If you're the Wolves, that makes sense. But you're the Lakers. You got 17 of them up there.
It was a bit because they have so many of them. It's like, hey, let's dunk on this idea. It was kind of fun, but.
I mean, how would you guys feel
as the early season?
But as Wolves fans, if the Wolves had won this year, or maybe they win it next year, whatever, and they won the in-season tournament, would you want them to hang a banner?
No.
Yeah, I would.
To be funny,
I would.
Yeah,
if it was like a St. Paul Saints.
But then it becomes a joke. But then the whole thing becomes a joke.
How about a different sized banner? Put it in the corner of the arena.
Put it in the corner. Put it in the
like a streamer. How about a streamer? Maybe not a full size banner.
Streamer.
And put a fan on it so that it always is moving, or like one of those car dealerships.
The wacky arm inflatable guy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I do wonder if the mid-season tournament will ever rise to the prominence that, like, obviously the goal is for it to be like the Premier League, or where there's a million different tournaments and all of the awards and trophies kind of hold similar stature. I wonder if the mid-season tournament will ever reach that point in the NBA.
I think it has to count for something, though, in the postseason. I think there has to be more than just a monetary incentive. I mean, that's fine. I mean, if the players want that and the union agrees and whatever, like, that's great. More money for the players. That's all good.
And keep in mind, I don't know how this is going to work, but the last time I looked, the Olympics are in July in Paris. So, I mean, how many of these NBA guys, Marnie and Max, are going to be? I mean, Ant has expressed an interest in wanting to. This probably,
he wants to start.
He wants to not just play,
he wants
but
a starting
start.
position.
So I mean, it's going to be a quick turnaround for a lot of these guys. But Ant's basically been going year round right now because he played last year for USA Basketball.
But I think it's been wonderful for his game. I think that type of competition,
100%.
You have to credit that for helping raise him from season 3 to season 4 in the leap that he took. And one interesting piece of that, Rosie, is when the Wolves just played Phoenix a handful of days ago, one of the things we did in our pregame show was Jim Peake kind of looked at the USA roster and that the 2-guard spot between Ant and Devin Booker, like the starting spot, it is legitimately probably one of those two guys Not both of those two. So just the competition within the competition and what are coaches looking at and are they well aware of it? They're on the court. Just a little side story.
We have to throw that team together pretty quickly when it's over. They always do, but
they'll be fine.
Yeah,
they'll be fine. They
got reloaded. I mean, LeBron is in this year. I think Steph Curry is going to be in. Like but Kevin Durant is back in. It's full dream team mode again. Because
USA. Get me crazy.
Let's go.
You know what I'm talking about.
USA. Country before NBA. So turn around. I don't want anyone to be like, I'm a little sore. I'm a little tired. No, this is for your nation. Damn it.
We need you to give the pregame
deeper.
I will.
Yeah.
They may not even be the favorites.
Yeah. Perry, sorry to keep making you relive it, but the Wild are officially done for the year. They are not going to make the playoffs. They lost to the Avalanche 5-2 yesterday. I know you talked a little bit about a hypothetical situation of what they would do if they weren't cap strapped, but what should, in reality, be the Wild's number one offseason goal this year?
Right now, you know what, top, bottom, be better. Just be better. Like I've said, good teams can have bad years as long as it's just 1 year. And, I think it's one of those things where it wasn't... You can't necessarily point a finger and be like, well, it was this guy's fault or it was this guy's fault. It was everybody's fault and it was kind of nobody's fault. You win as a team, you lose as a team. And literally just so many things that went on with coaching change, the injuries, the slow start from Kaprizov, from Boldy, the goaltending just never kind of finding a rhythm. It just was one of those years. That being said, we are a much better team than we showed. And a lot of times when this does happen in the past, when you've seen good teams that have struggled and missed the playoffs that have no business missing the playoffs, they come back stronger and a little bit more hungry, dealing with that adversity. And I kind of like, the silver lining is, to have Matt Boldy, to have Kirill Kaprizov, to have Brock Faber, even Wallstedt a little bit to kind of to watch these struggles and realize how much it sucks. And that's, as Ben can say, like, it's in the end, when you get to pro sports, is it more about winning or is it about how much you hate losing? And right now they went through a lot of adversity. It was a tough year. Besides Brock Faber and Marco Rossi, there's not a single guy in that locker room that's satisfied and happy. And there's a couple guys that are going to be put on notice because of this year. There are some guys because of the depth that we had, and we were hoping to make a step to Ben to go along with where we want to be that destination team, right? Where that one guy we're missing. Well, we were hoping to make a step and maybe win a playoff round, because that if we can get this team with where strapped we are, with the core that we have, if we can get this team to believe in themselves as a playoff team and win one playoff round, then it's just absolutely golden next year. Then you're just giggling and waiting for that number one centerman that says, I want to play for you guys.
Perry, we saw Nathan McKinnon last night again. Play a game we are not foreign. That's foreign to us. I mean, he has jet engines on his skates. I've never seen a player pull away from defenseman as quickly as he does. Actually, starting at center ice. Is he the fastest skater? I mean, what makes
the quickest? It's like the Barry Sanders of the NHL. He literally just in a step or two, he's at full speed. Where everybody else and the amazing thing with McKinnon, as fast as his feet are, I don't know if his hands or his feet are fastest. I mean, everything's moving so fast, so quick, with so much intensity. He's impossible to defend. You don't know. You literally have no idea which direction he's going. And as soon as you lean one way, he's so fast, he's going to take advantage of it. The year that he's having, he's on pace. I think he's still on pace to break the Colorado points record. I mean, with McKinnon, Connor McDavid, Nikita Kucherov, they're absolutely putting on a show this year. 130 some points, the three of them. There's nobody else even remotely close to those three. I mean, there's guys that are having career years. Put it this way, Connor McDavid's going to be the fourth player in NHL history to record 100 assists in one season, and Nikita Kucherov could be the fifth. Right behind him in the same year. So that's how rare it is, and that's how big a years they're having.
That's incredible.
Can you believe it, Marnie?
I am stunned.
Perry, one last question as we go to break here. Who do you think will win the Stanley Cup? Who's the favorites in your mind, and who are you rooting for?
I'm I'm rooting for the Edmonton Oilers, man. Connor McDavid, I want to see the legend of Connor McDavid finally begin, and you don't become one of the greatest of all time without winning a championship, and I think it's time. I have a good feeling about them, but to be honest with you, Sauce is going to be like, to hear this, my mind is going right back to my old Florida Panthers. Boy, those guys.
Hell of a run last year.
A great run last year. They underachieved last year in the regular season, so it wasn't a huge surprise what they did. That being said, they are on a mission this year. Sergei Bobrovsky, their goaltender's right up there for the Vezina Trophy. I like what the Florida Panthers are cooking right now.
Awesome. You smell what the Florida Panthers are cooking. And we are cooking here. We got one more segment to go. Headlines. Everybody in the studio pretty much wrote jokes for funny news. We got headlines and a bunch of more chaos. Final segment of the Power Trip, a morning show right around the corner on The Fan.
The Fan.
Final segment of the Power Trip morning show. The regular cast of characters, Hockey, Corey, Saucy, Halvey, will be back in action live from the city of Sin, Las Vegas, both tomorrow and Friday. Make sure to check that out. Got a full slate of live programming for you today, 9 to noon. The Grom bumper to bumper. It's been a great day, and I appreciate all the listeners out there who tuned in and didn't hear their normal favorite voices and still chose to hang out with us here. I really do appreciate it. And I appreciate all you guys in this room and that room for hanging out with me today. It's been a lot of fun. I can't believe it's already 8:30, y'all.
It is absolutely flown, Max. Thank you so much. Yeah, you've done an amazing job keeping us moving. Luckily, Crease and I have been extremely long-winded. Making sure we push back all the commercials. But no, thanks you, Max. That's been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed the heck out of this.
Yeah, it's been a blast, man. And like I said, I don't usually get to see you guys, you and Crease, so it's a lot of fun to hang out with you guys.
Yeah, same. I don't get to see these guys. I hear you guys all the time, and I'm like, I miss my buddies.
Because you used to be on Friday, so I would see you, and then now everything's switched.
Everything's switched.
I saw Greg Alexander in the hallway. He's talking about drawing up a long-term contract for this show. I don't know. This could be starting something big here.
I am a free agent.
Well, let's name it. There are 6 of us, so it's 6.
Let's workshop it. Let's workshop it.
Yeah. Now it's
Good
time
transition
for
now.
Yes. Marnes'
Save 6.
favorite.
Save 6. No?
Save 6. No, I don't like
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
No, I don't like that. We'll keep working on it. Marnes, your
Grade
favorite
6.
segment is the funny news segment. Everybody wrote jokes for headlines today, so who wants to start? I didn't write any jokes because I was too busy kind of getting everything together here. So who wants to start with?
I can start.
I mean, she started it. I mean, this
Martin is the OG of the segment.
Let's go.
Get pumped, Marnes.
Yeah, but it is funny how the mind can lock up. And I will struggle and I'll just need the punchline. I got the joke, got everything there. I just need to land the plane. Can't do it. Volunteers recently finished their annual cleanup of the Jersey Shore in anticipation of vacation season. Among their findings, a bag of voodoo dolls, fake eyelashes, a pregnancy test, and a whoopee cushion. Reports say those items were left next to a sign that read, "Chris Hockey was here."
Pretty good. I got to go next.
You got to go next. You got the follow-up.
Because
go ahead.
a voodoo doll, a whoopee cushion, and denture powder among bizarre trash plucked from New Jersey beaches. In related news, U.S. Airlines apologizes to Rosens for accidentally dumping their honeymoon luggage out over the Atlantic Ocean.
Oh, yeah.
That was way better. I'm so glad I went first.
Okay, I guess I'll go next. Okay, I'm really nervous because I don't know how this whole thing goes. You guys
hand wrote these.
Yeah, I was handwriting this. Okay, I went old school. This is my best Corey Cove impression because I've got the yellow legal pad and I'm writing everything down. Okay, guys. Let's see how this goes. You guys' structure is way different than mine. Sunny Holston, guys. You guys know Sunny from The View. She's a social commentary expert, now science expert. She recently stated that earthquakes and solar eclipses are a result of climate change.
Jeez.
That's the joke. That's it.
Nailed it. Well done.
You guys are bringing the heat today. Rozo, you got any?
I got nothing, man.
Oh, Rosie.
I didn't hear. I didn't get the email. Marty usually sends me hers, and I fill in the blanks on what she says.
That's true. I can send you one right now.
Send me the one I could say Snooki left her stuff there.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be a Snooki deal.
The world's oldest man was recognized last week by the Guinness Book of World Records. John Alfred Tinniswood of England is 111 years old. Asked about the secret to a long life, John said he never smokes and he rarely drinks. And then John said, you know what? Never mind. Just end it. Because he wants to smoke and
What have I been doing with my life?
A priest in Poland was jailed after a man collapsed from too many erectile drugs at a cleric's sex party. Government officials promise that he will do hard time. Very, very.
Yes, he will.
All right. Yesterday, Arizona upheld the state's 160-year-old abortion ban. Related news, Mark Rosen and his lawyer Jeff Lambert plan to visit a couple ranches for sale in Arizona en route to Las Vegas celebration.
I see the way this is going, Perry.
There's a theme here.
We were talking about this guy earlier. So Tiger Woods, they asked him as he nears the Masters when he asked about his body and the weather. And he said, quote, I prefer it warm and humid and hot. Very similar to how he likes his waitresses at Perkins.
Yes.
You're a natural. You're a natural at this.
I think you got to take these jokes to TCL, Ben.
You should go to a family restaurant like Hooters.
Yes, he should. Yes.
Like John Daly. Famed groundhog Puxatawny Phil is now a father of 2 babies. When asked about his children, Phil said, I'll be right back. I need to run to the store to grab some smoke. He was never heard from again.
I felt like a courtesy laugh.
Yeah.
Oh, Phil.
What's going on, Mark? Because I recognize that.
Okay, beady eyes.
Because it wasn't a rip. It was just, I've gotten the courtesy laugh.
You don't think
Enough
it's
to know.
funny that Puxatawny Phil doesn't want to raise his kids?
Yeah, come on, Mars.
I mean, it was
It's a lot of work.
mildly entertaining. An Australia man has been fined for urinating in a cup during a flight delay at the Sydney airport. A woman who was sitting next to the man alerted a flight attendant on the plane. The man then reportedly said, well, that woman just has a piss poor sense of humor.
That was funny. That was a good, clean joke. That's a good, clean joke. Yeah. That was a good one.
And you had to bring the heat after being critical, so you brought it. You
I knew the order.
I've got 2 more, and then I got to get out of here. All right. An Arizona man, get this, you guys. Arizona man, this is really cool. Invented a hands-free popcorn bucket holder that fits right in your own cup holder. That's pretty convenient, right? Mm-hmm. Right now, you can get it online for $18. Still no word if the deal comes with a bottle of lotion.
Definitely power trip material there.
Greasy.
Especially if it's that Dune popcorn holder, man. Have you guys seen that one?
No.
Oh, Rose, you're going to need
boy.
to look it up, brother.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Harry, you
I'll do my last one. Costco hasn't raised the price of a hot dog from $1.50 since it opened in 1984. The only other business that hasn't raised its price since 1984? Hawk's sister.
That's not true.
He's got receipts. He's got legit receipts. Anybody else? I've got one more. If you guys,
I'm done.
One more.
Last one.
Last
Ben.
one.
Let's
All
go
right.
strong.
In sports news, University of Texas defensive lineman Tavondre Sweat recently had a DUI. It's been reported he blew a .105, which is exactly what Zacho did on prom night.
Take a bow, Ben.
Let's go.
Mic drop.
Ben Elias. My God.
going out with a bang.
Yeah.
You knew you had that.
That was the first one I wrote. I'm like, oh,
genius.
that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
That was the
That's
big red
real
button
power
right
trippy
there.
right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mic
That was
drop,
genius.
leave the studio.
I had a bunch of them that I was like in the middle of, but I was having a brain block. So I was frozen. Like the porch pirate dresses up as a trash bag to steal a package worth $10. When approached by the police, he said he was just disguised as the Twins hitting with runners in scoring position. But I couldn't, like, it wasn't rolling off the tongue.
Yeah. You got to workshop the rhythm of it.
Yeah. And it just, yeah.
There's a lot that hit the cutting room floor.
Yeah. I think we need to bring back the Power Trip stand-up after this today, y'all. You guys really brought the heat today.
Marty's
I'd be in for it.
And then the walk-off, too.
Yeah, I tell you what, Marnes, I'm with you. You guys do this every week. I'm like, I was stressing last night. I'm
hard.
We did it.
It's not as easy as
very hard.
It was my idea, and I wanted to do it, and we did it maybe 3 or 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody would remember.
Yeah.
So Max and Hockey, during the commercial break before the segment, would quick Google a couple things and come up with 1 or 2, which is super impressive.
Yeah.
But I was the only one that was prepared and loving it, and they were all like, And then I did a Twitter poll. Do the people want this headline joke segment or not? Because nobody in the room wanted it. Sauce, he was over it. Corey never even wrote a single one. And Rosie laughed at me every time.
I did. My favorite part was laughing the way you laugh at your own jokes.
Some of them are pretty good. Some of them are real good. But
some of them you got to like personally punch up a little bit, and then some of you just laugh at yourself. Like, that was pretty good.
It's like when you hold your pose after you know the shot's going in. It's like, come on. That was a good one right there.
I saw that headline about the pissing in the cup, and I could not come up with anything. I don't know if it was too perverted or what. Yours was brilliant.
Well, I started with the punchline of something like, "Oh, don't look in the barf bag," but then it felt too obvious. It felt like one of Lieber's college pranks.
There's R. Kelly jokes. There's other,
I was on when I saw the Costco, the hot dog for $1.50. I'm like, everyone's going to be using this joke for some fashion. Like, I'm for Zach, for Hawk, and then of course the one I thought that I dug deep enough, the Jersey Shore. Then you come swim right up. I'm like, first one.
Yeah, I had a terrible punchline for that, so there was.
The thing is, you were saying earlier, Perry, that you're like, it's so hard. I mean, these headlines, like, what do you do? I mean, some of them are so tragic, right?
Yeah. Right.
And some of them are like big geopolitical things. And I'm like, if we were real comedians, that's material for them.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
I'm like, how would they make this like mother of 2 murdering her family and getting sentenced? I'm like, I looked on CNN. And it's like the first 5 headlines were like blood, death, and gore.
Yeah,
and I'm like, well, they could find something funny in that. I can't do that, so I'm just gonna not touch those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's how willing are you to go that far?
I was looking for
not willing.
Just the headlines were like, okay, can I make fun of someone on the show with that? Yep. Okay, good. Rosie.
Rosie.
Hawk sister.
Tommy's
There we go.
always a good one.
I just went right for the hits. Just played the hits.
Right themselves.
The Hawk sister one came up to me literally in about 30 seconds. I was like, that's too easy. Okay, hopefully that one will work.
You are right, though, Perry. Sometimes it's like too low of hanging fruit. You know, it's like this seems too much of a layup that I'm not even going to touch it.
Yeah.
Yep. That was my first joke about the cleaning up the beach.
Yeah.
And then my punchline was reports where those items were left next to a sign that read Chris Hockey was here. Yeah. And it got a little bit of like, we could see that coming. It was going to be one of them. It was going to be Sauce or Rosie or Hawk or Hawk's dad or Hawk's sister or
anyway,
name a family.
Loved it.
Okay.
That was fun, you guys. Good job, Max.
Hey, thanks, Ben.
Yeah, I got to run. Yep.
All right, bye.
Love you guys.
See you soon.
Oh, yeah.
Appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, and Miss Marn and I, she's going to be on Twin Cities Live tomorrow.
Let's go.
Thursday, tune in. We'll tune in every day, but Thursday especially.
What are you wearing?
Holla.
What are you wearing?
That's a great question. I don't know.
Okay,
Are you guys gonna
text me later.
Are you guys gonna match? Or are you guys gonna?
I don't know.
That'd be so cute.
Coordinate colors.
See you, Ben.
What are you bringing to the table at TCL, Marnes? What you got? Any guests lined up? You got any?
No,
are you telling these jokes?
I don't work when I do that show. I show up. As a matter of fact, it's one thing that makes me nervous because I prep when I'm doing a Wolves game. I research. I make notes. I put a lot of effort into the prep. When you go to Twin Cities Live, have anyone in this room you've co-hosted?
I haven't co-hosted. I've just appeared on for one segment.
Okay.
They got good producers over there.
Yes,
they have wonderful producers and really good hosts. That when you show up as someone who works in TV and is used to prepping, and I say, okay, give me the format, give me the scripts. What are you doing? And they're like, just go down there and read the prompter. I'm like, I can't do that. So it makes me more nervous and more anxiety filled than anything I do at
because
Valley.
you care. It's going to be awesome.
Right. That's right.
Dang it.
It's good to care.
It's a blessing.
Does it
and a
still
curse.
just doing different kinds of? Do you get nervous doing Bally stuff still at all, or no?
No, not nervous. No, sometimes juiced up a little bit, but I have to be totally in a different location or a time slot or something I've never done to feel the jittery again, which is why Twin Cities Live totally brings that out in me. But not for a regular pregame show. I was a little more amped up on last week because I worked Twins games Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. Sunday ended up being a rainout, but that was different for me. I don't know the team as well. I haven't been around the ballpark as much, so just a different time and location. Sure, that'll juice it up a little bit.
In general, sorry to keep asking you questions about this, but I'm curious. How do you, when you're doing it all, there's 82 games. How are you preparing for game 50? How are you coming up with new things to say and talk about when you're doing your prep?
It is not easy, Max, because we have a full half hour pregame before every game. And for example, last night, Washington Wizards. You don't spend a lot of time previewing this matchup and that matchup because it's the Wizards. So I'll take more I compared Nickeil Alexander-Walker's last 3 games to his previous 3. He was really down in his previous 3 and really up in his previous 3. And it's just a matter of I'll go through Twitter, I'll read game articles, I jot down notes from the previous game. It's just brainstorm, idea, topic, and hope it sticks. And mostly is Jim Peterson interested in talking about this? Is Rebecca Brunson interested in talking about this? Kevin Lynch?
But
I'm just trying to spur ideas because you're right. We did 80 of the 82 games, the 2 that were not on TNT. 80 times we had to come up with a half hour of content for every game.
What a rare gift this season has been for someone who has to do pregame shows.
Correct.
And when you're in the midst of even Perry knows this, a wild-like type season or the Wolves have had decades of what the hell are we going to talk about?
I've worked those seasons too.
Oh, the Twins or whatever it might be. You're going, those are the challenging ones. When you're going to go, how am I going to paint a positive picture about much of anything?
Yeah.
Because there's not a lot of positivity going on around.
And unfortunately, those are the seasons where you do go into the opponent a lot. You're like, well, this is interesting. Look what the Clippers are doing.
Yeah,
Look over
Yeah.
here.
I never
shiny object.
I never realized with the teams winning or losing, how the season goes, how many people it actually affects, for work and everything, until I started working in TV. And now I remember when we were playing for the Islanders, when we went from the last place team in the league to 5th the next year, and the most excited people in New York were the reporters. They couldn't, they were so excited to be writing nice things and positive. I had no clue how much it affects. And now being on this side, Marnes, I feel your pain. You and Audrey do all the heavy lifting. Thank God you guys come up with stuff to ask us.
Yeah, what kind of prep do you do, Perry? Do you have any, I know, I'm sure when you were a player, you kind of had your pregame routine. Do you have a sort of pregame routine before TV, or what kind of prep do you do when you're doing TV?
I'll talk to the producers. I just, I like to talk to producers just a little bit, just to get a little bit of a bearing of what kind of they want, or more or less what I want to talk about, I guess, because that's what I've learned. They want the expert to come up with stuff. And it's pretty easy, honestly. For me, there isn't a whole lot of prep or homework at all. I'm just watching hockey, which I've been doing my whole life. So I watch it. And since the beginning of time, I've made mental notes when I watch the game and kind of go from there. So mine is a lot easier than yours, Mike. A lot easier. Not a whole lot of workshopping, not a whole lot of notes. Don't even really need a pen. Just come on in and answer questions.
I'm going to renegotiate my contract.
What about you, Rosie? Last question about prep, but I'm curious, as technology has advanced, what was your prep like back in the day doing TV as compared to right now?
Big difference. I mean, I think right now I'm still doing, obviously the Vikings pregame shows on Fox 9, and I chat with the producers over at Fox a little bit ahead of time, get an outline, and that's really. Then I start doing my homework. I mean, it's much different than when I was doing Rosen Sports Sunday for all those years. When it was kind of the post game versus pregame is much different animal. Where you have to decide editorially what kind of things you want to talk about and guide that conversation, but. Honestly, I'm so blessed to work with, and both these guys in this room know this. I mean, it's when you have a team, and I get to work with Ben and Don Mitchell and Ahmad Hicks and Bursich, and I mean, I would put that team up against any local broadcast in the country when it comes to a pregame show. They're so knowledgeable, and so basically, you're the orchestra conductor. You just come up with the ideas, you come up with the questions. And Ron Johnson just starts talking for a half hour, and then you just get the hell out of the way.
It's an easier job.
No, I'm just kidding.
When Ron Johnson is there.
And it's just it makes life much easier. It's thoroughly enjoyable, and I watch Marnie a lot. I watch Perry too, but I'm saying when you work with someone like Rebecca Brunson now and see her elevation and how she's elevated her career as a former player and what she's done. Their insight is invaluable. So, again, blessed to have a lot of great people around you, and that's really what makes it work. And being a good listener, that's really the big thing.
Yeah.
You want to be able to react to what the person is saying as opposed to thinking of your next question.
Hey, Maxo and John Creasel, because you played such pivotal roles in this broadcast today, what was your prep like for this show?
You want to go first, Chris?
I watched both games yesterday. I read more news stories than I normally do. I looked at hundreds of headlines.
Hundreds?
Yeah. And so, I just wanted to be as informed because now I've actually hosted a show probably 3-4 times here. So I wanted to just sort of be, and I didn't host today. Max guided the ship, but it was more of being able to adjust fire based on whatever is being talked about, kind of having hand.
You want to be up to speed.
Yeah, because if you're just like, here's what I'm going to talk about, it can take 5 minutes and it's off the
and then
rails.
You're forcing
and then
you're forcing your topics.
And it's 3 hours of, so it's just being like, all right, we can steer it this way or this way. Yeah. Being flexible.
Yeah, no, there's no worse feeling than being on the air and you see that on-air sign and you got nothing. Like that's happened to me when I was making my bones at Radio K over at the U. That happened to me a lot, and you kind of have to go through that. So I just dread that situation so much, especially having 3.5 hours to fill. I try to be as over prepared as possible. I watched every game that I could. I went to the movies yesterday in case I needed to do a movie review. First Omen, pretty scary, by the way.
Really?
Terrifying.
Worth
actually.
seeing though. You liked it?
Yeah, I liked it though. I've never seen any of the other Omen movies,
either.
so I didn't really get the lore.
Well, this was the first one, isn't it?
I think it's a prequel.
Hey, Marty's still
It's in the
firing.
title.
Still firing.
I can't turn it off.
My God.
But it was jump scary and disturbing scary. At one point, there is
I don't like that at all.
That's too scary as I like to stay away from.
Are you guys horror movie people?
No. Why do you pay to get scared?
Yes.
I don't understand that.
love them.
I actually screamed out loud. Like, luckily, there was only one other guy in the movie theater who was totally sick of me by the end of those 2 hours. I was screaming and I was running around. There were some things in the movie that I genuinely wondered if you could show
Nightmares.
that in an R-rated
Awesome.
movie.
No
Like
kidding.
it gets graphic. I can't even. There was a scene that involves a birth, and I won't go any further into details. A birth and a demon, and
Lord.
I don't think I'll ever forget it for the rest of my life. But
A human? Human birth?
a human giving birth, but then a demon coming out.
Was this a video of my daughter being Yeah.
But yeah, I just try to intake, and that's what I do.
Good thing she's cute.
Every day. Yeah, sorry about that. That's what I try to do every day when I come in here. I don't really, even if I'm going to go turn on a show on Hulu, I'm like, well, I could watch a show that I really want to watch, but will I be able to talk about that on the air? I could go do this thing. I don't really want to do it, but it might be a funny story if I can talk about it on the air. I really take Hawk's mantra of life is show prep to heart. There's almost nothing that I do, which is probably not healthy, that I do outside of work that I don't think of connecting back to work. I'm always trying to be over prepared. And I mean, most of the time that I'm done hosting, I have like 7, 8, 9 things. I mean, I have all these in the box questions. We only got 4 minutes left, so we can't even really play in the box. So I like having more that's left on the cutting room floor rather than having nothing and it being
that's a
like
good way to be.
7:30 and being
Rule
like,
number one, preparation is everything.
Yeah.
When earlier in this show, you said something about you saw a fight outside your window, and I could have sworn you said, when I was prepping for the show at 1 a.m. Did you say that?
Yeah.
Were you prepping at 1 a.m.?
I was prepping at 1 a.m. I was prepping last night.
When did you sleep?
I didn't really. Oh my Lord. I've had like 3 or 4 coffees this morning, and I'm going to the Twins game at noon, so I'm not going to. They might put me to sleep. To be honest, the offense might put me to sleep. But
if there's any runners in scoring position, you can close your eyes.
Might as well put the little sleeping cap on, get some honk shmee-me-mees in, you know. But yeah, I just try to be over prepared at all times.
You've done awesome today.
Yeah,
I've
been incredible. Thank you.
I don't know if this is breaking NFL news, but they announced, the schedule release will be, comes out in drips and drabs. The Packers are going to face the Eagles on Friday night, September the 6th in Brazil.
Okay.
That's a regular season game?
Yes.
Question mark. It is, isn't it?
Yes, and that is going to be, I believe, the second game of the season.
Oh, right, the Thursday.
And they had speculated that this week, and Mark Murphy was talking about it very openly, meaning if it wasn't going to happen, he'd have been like, I haven't heard anything or whatever. Yeah. So it was pretty clear. So that will be an interesting change as they keep growing the sport.
Correct.
Yeah, it's interesting to see them taking it global and outside of just London now, because it's been Germany and now Brazil, which if they can get the NFL popping in Brazil. When I went to the soccer game in Brazil between 2 of Rio's best teams, it was the most electrifying sporting event I've ever been to in my life before I even stepped in the stadium.
Awesome.
Like, it was as loud as you've ever heard a Timberwolves game, Marnes, or Perry, or Wild game. And I wasn't even in the building yet. There's fireworks, there's pyro, and this is just a random regular season game. This wasn't even like their Super Bowl or anything. It means sport is just, it takes on a whole different character and meaning when there's only one show in town. So if you can get even half of that energy in Brazil, then man, the NFL really has a chance of growing outside of the United States, which would be super exciting.
Yeah, the Vikings have a home game in London at Tottenham again. A opponent yet to be announced. That'll be probably right after the draft in a couple of weeks. But the Vikings have to give up a home game this year. The speculation, I guess, is going to be Baltimore KC opening up the regular season. But we'll find out.
That could be good. Fantastic. Just like today was good. That's what Ice Cube once said, and I'm going to say it too. Thank you all for joining me today, helping me steer this ship. It's been so much freaking fun. And thank you all to the listeners, because you turned on the radio and you're like, what the F? Max is hosting the show? Get his black ass out of here. But you stayed, you hung out, and I appreciate that, because you could have been doing anything in the whole world. Love you too, Rosie. Love you, Perry. Love you, Crease. Love you, Marnes. Love all you guys. Derek, too. Derek's been back here the whole time.
Yeah.
Appreciate y'all. Big group hug, y'all. 9 to noon is up next. PA and Nordo will surely have the latest on the NFL draft, the program after that, and then bumper to bumper. Don't forget the Wolves and Nuggets game can be caught right here on these very airwaves. 100.3 KFXN, The Fan. Love y'all. Peace.
To listen back to today's Power Trip Morning Show or to hear previous shows, podcast us on the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.